So if you're watching this particular video, you have chosen to do the historiographical essay for HST 306, the Veteran Experience. Before we delve into what this essay is about, I'd like to clarify the term historiographical, okay? The historiography of a topic is the collection of interpretations that are the accepted historical interpretations about that topic, okay? So throughout this course, we've really focused on, in every era and in relation to multiple types of themes, we have looked at the major historiographical or the major historical interpretations about United States veterans, right? So basically what you're going to be doing, we've looked at this in terms of each post-war era that we've highlighted, right? And we've looked at it in terms of multiple themes, right? What you're going to be doing with this particular essay is you're going to be looking across the board in terms of the periods that we've looked at, and you're going to be looking at all of the major themes, and you're going to show me what you believe to be the three most important themes of U.S. veterans history and map the major interpretations of those most important themes, those three most important themes, across the periods discussed. I want you to recognize that you don't have to talk about every single period, every single post-war period, right? Because there's going to be a lot of continuity too. But there's also going to be those major changes. So when you pick your three most important themes, say you pick economics, look at the major points of evolution in terms of economics and veterans, right? Look at the major points. Let's talk about benefits. Look at the major points of evolution in terms of changes in benefits, right? We talk a little bit about how Civil War veterans fought for benefits, right? We talk a little bit about how World War I veterans pushed for benefits. And then we see what happens with World War II veterans, right? That they actually get some major benefits through the GI Bill, right? So you know that there's evolution there, right? So if you pick that particular theme, and don't everybody pick it, you don't have to, but if you're looking at benefits, you can see how that evolves, right? That's what you're going to be talking about. So find yourself three very specific themes that you like, that you enjoy, or you think you can get enough mileage out of, right? And then you're going to map the major historical interpretations or the historiography of those themes, okay? So relate them to the periods that we've discussed. Again, not all of the periods have to be discussed, but relate them to the major points of evolution. So if you're going to be doing this particular essay, what you really are doing is creating three sections of a paper. You're going to have an intro with a thesis. You're going to have a conclusion reiterating all of your conclusions from the paper, but you're going to have three particular sections, okay? And those sections, again, the major themes, the ones that you like, and in those sections you're going to be discussing for me and for your reader how those themes changed over time. Okay, you can put some continuity in there. That's great. That's good background too, or it gives your reader the sense of how all of this can be pieced together. But you're really going to be hammering home the major points of evolution. Why? Well, those are the major points of interpretation, of historical interpretation, right? So bear in mind before you write this, historiographical means the collection of interpretations by historians about a particular topic. Okay, so hopefully that clears that up for you guys. We'll go back to talking about the specifics and sort of the meat of the essay in a second. But let's talk a little bit about what's on the right-hand side of the screen here, and that's the major requirements for this essay. Number one, you're going to be writing an essay that's 6 to 8 pages long. You can go a little bit over the 8 pages, but if you run into the 10th page here, you're going to be presenting to me either a redundant essay or you're going to be presenting to me too much background information, okay? This is really about analysis and proving your analysis with evidence, okay? So 6 to 8 pages will really be a great place for you to think of, if I have less than 6, I probably don't have enough information here, and if I have more than 8, I probably have a little bit too much, okay? I'm really probably hammering some points home a little bit too hard, right? Okay. So in terms of this paper, one of the major requirements is that you must have a thesis statement. Now, some people think that a thesis statement is a statement of purpose, right? Statement of purpose would be, in this essay, I'm going to illustrate how such and such and so and so. Or sometimes those major statements of purpose will say, I will prove, right? A thesis statement is exactly what you're going to prove. It's your exact conclusion, your exact argument. And that argument is what you're going to prove throughout your paper. So for this particular historiographical essay, you are going to make an argument about the most important themes of U.S. veterans history, okay? And you're going to tell me why you see them as such, and that's going to be your argument. And that argument is what you are going to, every point in the rest of your paper is going to funnel back to that argument, and you're going to prove that particular argument, okay? If you have any difficulty creating a thesis statement, email me about it. Either email me a draft of your thesis statement or email me what it is that you're trying to say in your essay, what it is you're trying to prove, and we'll hammer out a thesis statement together, okay? The same can be said for the organization of the paper. If you're having any difficulties with the organization of the paper, well, create a sort of mini outline, a keyword or fragmented sentence outline, and send it to me and let me know what it is you're trying to say, and we can work on organization, okay? So again, remember, thesis statement, your argument. What is your main conclusion here in terms of the three themes that you picked and why you see them as the most important, okay? All of your papers in terms of formatting need to be Times New Roman, 12-point font, 1-inch margins, double spaced. No single space, okay? Double spaced here. That's just typical formatting, right? Another major issue that's much like the thesis statement is that you have to have evidence in your essay. This is a lot easier for you guys who are doing the historiographical essay as opposed to those doing the oral history or their own personal history, right? Because you're basically going to be talking about these themes, and you're going to have to prove why they're important, and you're going to have to illustrate the points of evolution, right? So everything that you're taking from the books and the articles and even the lectures, you need to cite those assertions, right? You need to cite, if you're making a point about the GI Bill, right? You're going to have to use the Mettler book to prove that, right? You're going to have to use some of my lecture to prove that. You're going to have to take what you have learned from the bulk of the material for that section of the course in terms of the GI Bill, and you're going to have to use it as evidence to prove your points, not only about, say, veterans benefits being an important theme, but also what are the changes in terms of veterans benefits with the GI Bill, right? So any sort of stats that you find, any assertions made by, say, someone like Mettler in the Mettler book, anything that you find that is something that you believe is an assertion or conclusion by a scholar, anything that you find to be what you would not consider common historical knowledge, that you would need to cite that, right? And in citing that, what you're going to be doing is you're either going to be using MLA, which is in-text citation, or you're going to be using Chicago style, which are footnotes, okay? Footnotes are what historians use, but I am totally fine with you using MLA. MLA is basically, like I keep using the Mettler book, right? MLA would be, okay, you've taken a statistic from Mettler, or you've taken a major assertion from Mettler, and you're going to put it in parentheses, right? And it's going to say Mettler, comma 72, or Mettler, comma 72 to 79, because you've done a summary of the Mettler book or a particular portion of it, okay? So that citation is you illustrating where you got this evidence from, and that's extremely important, right? When you're writing an essay, you need to illustrate where you're getting your evidence from. It is obviously plagiarism if you're not illustrating that, right? Well, the reason why we talk about the issue of plagiarism is because you really want to give credit where credit's due, right? Not only in terms of, say statistics and stats. Not only do you want to show your reader where they need to find that, but what you also want to do is when you're illustrating someone's assertion, a scholar's assertion, you really want to give credit where credit's due, right? They're the ones who did the legwork for you. And it not only illustrates to the reader where they can find this information, but it gives credit to that person, to that scholar. And that's obviously very, very important. So make sure that you're citing all of the information that you paraphrase, summarize, or quote in your text, okay? And again, MLA or Chicago style, either way, it's not going to be a problem for me, okay? If you use any source that's an outside source, that's not from this particular reading list for this course, I do want you to have a works cited, because you can't just put in like Richards, comma 84 and expect me to know where you got that information from. So if you're using an outside source, give me a works cited, not only so I can see where the info came from, but that I know that it's a reputable scholarly source, okay? Let's jump back for just a second and talk about the essay itself again, okay? So you can see that you need a thesis statement, which is that argument about the most important themes. And you can see that you need to prove that. So when you decide to, on your major themes, what I would suggest that you do is to sit down and go skim through the materials again, or skim through your own personal notes, or even listen to the lectures again, and write in what you think are the major points of evolution. What are the major points of the evolution of historical interpretations about those themes? And that's really going to allow you to create an organized essay, okay? So remember what I said before, really intro, thesis, 3 sections, 1 per theme that you're talking about, and then a conclusion that wraps everything up and illustrates how you have proven your thesis, okay? So if you have any trouble with this thesis statement outline, still don't understand the word historiographical, anything like that, give me an email, shoot me an email, and we'll hammer things out and we'll figure out where you need to go from the particular place you're at. Oftentimes, students will be very nervous about what they're doing, especially if it's something new like this, and then they end up, sending me an email, and I'm like, boy, this is great. You're organizing it great, or your thesis statement is great. So don't feel nervous about it. Send something to me if you think you're having difficulty, and I will make sure that you're on the right track and that you can move forward with your essay, okay? I hope you enjoy this. This is the mainstay of history, looking at historical interpretations and illustrating what the major ones are and why they're part of the canon of United States history, okay? Take care.